The News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. A new SARS-CoV-2 variant has emerged, prompting some countries, including the Philippines, to close their borders to countries with known Omicron cases. With the threat of Omicron looming over the country's economy, the Tourism Department talks about plans to safely reopen the country. To tell us more about this, we now have Jen Calimon. She is reporting to us live from Malabon. Good morning again, Jen. Could you tell us how the country's tourism sector looks 2 years after this pandemic started?
Yes, Charles, according to Tourism Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat, prior to pandemic, the contribution of the Department of Tourism in our GDP was at 12.8%. Then during the pandemic, it went down to 5.4%. Our tourism employment also went down from 5.7 million to 4.6 million. In addition, domestic tourism arrivals in 2019 was close to 110 domestic tour trips, but in 2020 it went down to 24 million, a negative 77% decline. But this 2021, it became somehow better due to vaccination. And because of the gradual resumption, this September we had an uptick in domestic destination like in Siargao, Boracay, except Apayao, which is in alert level 2. So in preparation for the influx of tourists, the DOT had issued minimum public health protocols for compliance of DOT accredited hotels and resorts. Charles?
Let's talk a little bit more about these measures that you mentioned. You mentioned there is an uptick in domestic tourism, lots of people doing some revenge consumption, revenge vacationing. But in the middle of all this, Jen, how is the safety of tourists and workers ensured by the DOT?
Mm-hmm. Secretary Puyat said that they prioritize vaccination. So now majority or 77% of tourism workers are fully vaccinated since July when vaccination program started. So this vaccination does not only include hotel workers, like in Boracay, they also vaccinated masseurs, drive instructors, and other workers. Tourism workers now in Boracay is 94% vaccinated. Baguio and Coron are 100% vaccinated. Bohol is 95% vaccinated, and some areas are 80 to 90% vaccinated. Here in NCR, Charles, tourism workers are 99% vaccinated. That's why hotels were able to open.
Right, Jen, we do know that the tourism sector specifically has been hit heavily by this pandemic, but now when just everything's about to open up, we now have this new variant of concern, the Omicron. How are authorities anticipating this will affect the entire sector?
Yes, Charles. Secretary Puyat is confident that we can handle the situation better now because a lot of people are already vaccinated compared to Delta before. But she said that let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But again, the DOT reiterates the importance of adherence to minimum public health standards, whether tourists are vaccinated or not. So that means wearing of masks, regular hand washing, physical distancing, even when on vacation. They also told hotel and resort workers not to let their guard down. Whatever variant there is, we should still prioritize vaccination and comply with health and safety protocols. Charles?
Right, Jen, I understand that there, again, has been a shift in policy insofar as the green list countries are concerned. Could you tell us more about this, as well as other policies now in place under this new setup?
Yes, Charles. The strategy of our government is really to tighten border controls to prevent the entry of Omicron variant. So Romulo Puyat said that they were supposed to reopen today for fully vaccinated, visa-free green countries, but experts advised them to temporarily suspend it. And so those who were in green list must also follow the quarantine protocol set by the government. If they are fully vaccinated, they must have a pre-departure negative swab test. Then upon arrival, they have to undergo facility-based quarantine and test on the third day. If they tested negative, then they may go home, but they still need to finish the expected number of home quarantine. Now, for those who are not fully vaccinated, has no pre-departure test, or their vaccination status cannot be validated, they need to undergo facility-based quarantine and test on the 7th day, and they must complete the expected number of home quarantine. Charles?
Thanks for that, Jen, and do stay safe. That was Jen Calimon reporting live from Malabon. The South African Medical Association warns that until all of Africa are fully vaccinated, more COVID-19 variants are likely to emerge. More of that story in this report on Bloomberg Television.
When we talk about vaccines, the vaccines we have now and some of the vaccines that are currently being developed or adapted for these new variants here, is this the world we're going to live in for the foreseeable future, that we're going to need either booster shots or new variants of the vaccines to keep us protected?
Well, until Africa has not been fully vaccinated, you will have to carry on with booster vaccines going forward. It's actually a no-brainer, because most of the people living in Africa that are positive for and unvaccinated, especially the HIV positive unvaccinated patients, will be the people where you will see your new variants starting to evolve and with mutations. So to answer your question, for the foreseeable future, yes, you're going to have to get your boosters, and then we hope that whatever comes out of Africa would be able to be treated by the boosters until Africa has been vaccinated.
How are you thinking about some of the travel bans as well? Is that the appropriate course of action until we know more?
So again, at this stage, it's quite, it's very early to just put strict travel restrictions. I understand that each and every country would like to protect their people as much as possible. But you also need to say, just wait, let's just see what is going to happen. And once if we have figured out what is happening, then we start to say, okay, let's bring in travel bans or whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, what you should have done, or what the countries needed to do, is to encourage people to go back to the compulsory wearing of masks, the social distancing, what we also say, the ventilation. Get yourself vaccinated and stay away from crowds. That's actually the most better thing to do than just closing your borders. I'm quite sure the virus is in most of the countries in any case.
The government is eyeing to vaccinate children younger than 12 years old by January of 2022. Speaking to Radio 5, FDA Director General Eric Domingo said that currently Pfizer and Sinovac are looking to expand their emergency use authorization for children to include those younger than 12 years old. Domingo added that they are still waiting for the maker's application and are studying real-world data from other countries that have started vaccinating children.
Medyo stricto yung ating mga experts kasi nga mga bata ang gagamitan. Ang maganda naman, by this time, katulad po sa US, ginagamit na siya sa 5 to 11-year-olds. So pag nag-submit sila, aside from clinical trial, meron na rin real-world data. Meron na po naman tayong nakikita na mga possible na mga bakunang magamit po natin. Plano ng gobyerno, sana by January, makastart na tayo niyan.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Some iconic Christmas characters came to life at the shopping center in San Juan. Management says this is their way of showing gratitude to customers who continue to support small businesses at the mall. Laila Pangilinan with the story.
Ballerinas. Human snowflakes on skates. Santa Claus and his elves. These are just some of the holiday characters that made their way to V-Mall yesterday for the Christmas Fantasy Parade in Green Hills, San Juan. This is the mall management's way of thanking shoppers who continue to support businesses in the mall amid the pandemic.
We would like to really show our appreciation and our heartfelt thankfulness kasi the families are going out and really to enjoy their experience here in the mall.
It is also their way of summoning the Christmas spirit for kids and kids at heart. Visitors made sure not to miss their chance to take photos with the Christmas fantasy characters.
Masaya sila kasama yung mga kapatid niya dito sa loob.
Yes. Tsaka bago sa kanila, gawa.
Tsaka ngayon na ulit sila nakalabas.
Yes, oo, ngayon lang nakalabas.
Naabutan din namin yung parade sa labas kanina, maganda rin. Kaya umikot ulit kami para makasalubong ulit sila.
The people behind these fantasy characters also couldn't hide their happiness, especially with the warm welcome they received from guests.
Actually, hindi na po namin nafe-feel yung pagod eh. Tapos makita, kahit even doon na nakamas yung mga tao, makikita mo na happy sila. So, happy na din kami.
Beneficial po siya for both sides since parehas po kami nakakaranas po ng excitement and enjoyment po.
Sobrang nakakamiss po na makapagpasaya ulit ng tao. Lalo na ngayon na nakakalabas na ulit yung mga bata. Sobrang naibalik po namin siguro yung spirit ng Christmas sa mga bata.
Aside from the usual health and safety protocols, the mall management also made sure that all fantasy characters are fully vaccinated.
We all adhere to the minimum health standards that the government allowed. So far, we've plotted the program in such ways na we also provided safety officers to ensure po that the social distancing is followed.
Parents, meanwhile, feel secure knowing that the mall is concerned of their children's safety.
Okay naman kasi at least vaccinated sila. Feeling ko safe din yung mga basta naka-mask sila, okay din naman.
For the performers, being fully vaccinated does have its rewards.
Proud po ako na fully vaccinated na ako at confident po na humawak na ulit sa mga bata.
Those who missed the Christmas Fantasy Parade may still catch the same event on December 11 and 18 at the Green Hills Mall. Fireworks will also light the skies on these dates. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan. We are One News.
Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. Number coding returns in Metro Manila starting today. Some presidential bets are scheduled to visit parts of Luzon. And Miss Philippines graces the Miss Grand International National Costume Competition as a butterfly. Satellite TV brings you a very sulit Christmas channel blowout this December. For just 199 pesos, you'll get to enjoy more channels with the whole family. Visit your nearest load retailer now and text SLI 199 space satellite account number and send to 3443. For more details, visit facebook.com/satellite-tv. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.